Guys, it is happening again. Man United players have resumed their bad manners. They have started bad mouthing Ruben Amorim by beginning comparisons of him with his predecessors. Listen, this cannot be watched. This has got to be stopped. It has got to be arrested like yesterday. Subscribe to the Network Sport. My name is Webb. Now, first of all, it's a day of positivity. One, because Lisandro Martinez has had a successful surgery to repair his ACL, and definitely we know he's going to be out for the rest of the season. Could be back in the squad perhaps before the end of the year. That's what he would love to push for. But again, it all depends on the rehab and how it goes. But the big concern coming out of Man United now is that certain players have come out to start comparing the current boss, Ruben Amorim, to Eric Ten Hag, to Ruud van Nistelrooy, and these are credible sources coming in. These are journalists reporting these stories, saying that players have, have said Amorim is maintaining a professional distance with them, away from them. He's maintaining a professional relationship, if I would call it that, with the players. He doesn't want to mix and mingle so much and become attached and make it look like they're his friends or buddies. Unlike Eric Ten Hag, who despite the public fallout with the likes of Sancho, he had a personal relationship with most of the players. Of course, given the fact that he had worked with most of them before at Ajax, he brought most of the players for his players from teams he played for. He coached before, who had played under him. So they are saying that for Amorim, it's a bit different. He's only close to his two, fellow Portuguese, that is Bruno and Diogo Dalot. Which again, why should it be a surprise? Because they speak the same language. They come from the same, place, from the same country. So certainly, naturally, you are closer to people with whom you share, such a history. So I don't think that should be a shock. But for me, again, they even spoke about how Ruud van Nistelrooy was a good manager. His man management was second to none and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, what's the agenda? Because the guy, Samuel Lakas, who has broken this, is quite credible when it comes to breaking Man United leaks, if I would call it so. So, again, for me, guys, this is what I'm saying. The player power is beginning to take shape. First of all, if Ruben Amorim is maintaining a professional distance, I see nothing wrong with that, because Eric Ten Hag tried to make it friendly and personal with the players. What did they do for him? Where is he now? Clearly, they were never willing to play for him. There is talk of how the kids like Garnacho and Kobe Maino revered Eric Ten Hag because he gave them the chance and they won a title, the FA Cup, and blah, 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 blah. Certainly, they had to, because it's the coach who gave them their first chance. But a player like Amad Diallo will be more happy with Ruben Amorim because he has given him more opportunities. So I think for me, some of the things that are being said, I think for me, again trying to depict Amorim as a bad guy, trying to defeat him 3 months later, 3 months into his job. This is now people, perhaps orchestrated by, of course, the players, trying to do the same thing they always do with Man United. New coach comes in, they pretend a bit, and then they start throwing him under the bus. I think for me, this has got to be stopped. These players have been complaining. Casemiro has been mentioned as well, how he was, he loved the management of Ruud van Nistelrooy and blah, blah, blah. Listen, we cannot fall for this. We cannot fall for this. For me, any player who tries to depict Amorim as wrong, and I'm not saying Amorim is perfect, he certainly has got to have his weaknesses. If you're going to come into a rotten ship like Man United and try to keep it afloat, certainly you've got to create a few enemies for yourself, unless you're selling ice cream. And you can't get anywhere if you're selling ice cream at Man United. He has got to have that high-handedness, I think, for me. It's only natural. These players, for me, what I will tell you is, if any player doesn't like how Amorim is doing things, they can as well just come out there and put in a transfer request saying, in the summer, I want to leave. If they want their contracts to be terminated immediately by mutual consent, I will tell you, Ineos will be happy to do so for any of these players in this squad. We are tired of listening to players trying to talk bad about coaches. If the coaches are bad, let Ineos and us ourselves figure it out and fire them. Players have got to do their job. We can't trust them no more. All this talk for me is again trying to sell a propaganda against Amorim to try and fail him, so that we go into the same circle. It's a wrong system, jumping on every excuse to fail him. These players, for me, are beginning to fuel something that I hope none of us falls for. The beauty is, I'm very confident in Ineos. They won't fall for any of this nonsense. That's the confidence I have. Call them out for whichever weaknesses you feel about them, whichever disquiets you have about them. But I'll tell you, Ineos are not going to back these players and turn against their own manager, given what they have seen, given what they saw. So these players might as well just wake up and do their job professionally. Because I'll tell you, if Amorim is maintaining a professional distance, it's okay. Because you cannot trust any of these players. You cannot pretend, they'll pretend with you. You know how players, footballers, I keep telling people, footballers are the most dishonest human beings I've dealt with. In my time as an active journalist, I dealt with so many active footballers, some of whom we played with as kids, but they're just so dishonest. So you cannot back. Amorim knows it. He was a footballer himself anyway. So he knows that these players will sell at the first available opportunity, and which they're already doing now. They'll sell him off. They'll betray him, and they are beginning to show it. And I'll tell you, very soon we are going to start seeing. Inevitably, we're going to start seeing Amorim forced to make these drastic decisions of dropping players. And I'll tell you soon, probably even as early as the next game against Tottenham, we will see which players have been playing dirty on Amorim. Because trust me, he's going to bench players. There are certain players who will not step on that pitch again. And we will know that this so-and-so is the player who was trying to mastermind something against him by how he selects his team and how he refuses to play them or how he deals with them. Trust me, you're going to see it. Because all this talk that has been leaking out of the dressing room, I'm telling you, is not going to live just like, things cannot stay normal. Things will not stay normal. People will start questioning him for making players train after a bad performance against Leicester City, despite the victory, blah, blah, blah. You can do all that, but I'll tell you, whoever is leaking these things will be found out, and when that does, we will also get to know, if we watch critically and see the decisions he makes on the pitch. This player power is going to be tamed, and I like that they're beginning to start it now, so that he will tame them early. It's only 3 months for Amorim. Now is the time for him to identify all the players who think they are bigger than the club, bigger than him because they have more money than him. They played probably for a big club, bigger clubs than him, and won bigger titles than him. It's time for them to come up, clip their wings until they are humbled, so that by the time we get into preseason in the summer, signing his players, the whole squad is in his control. Amorim needs to be working with players who respect him, who see him as the guy who's going to help them achieve their maximum potential. But this whole talk, for me, I don't like it. I don't like where it's headed. But trust me, it is going to be sorted. Omar Berada and Amorim won't let it happen. So that's what is coming in from the club today. My name is Webb. Like, share, and subscribe, and let me know your 2 cents about it. Whether you think something needs to be done about these players, or again, there are people who feel players are right, Amorim should change. Tell me what you think.